Happy Sunday, everybody! Woo! My name is Scott Mendenhall, and these are some of my friends. Who are you?
I am Joey, and this is
Are you gonna introduce
Kristen.
Kristen.
I was waiting. I didn't know if you wanted me to, I don't know.
I like you to do sometimes.
It feels
seriously,
nice. It feels nice.
How about that race?
That race. Let's just talk about the race for a second here as we get close in on me so you get the drama. Hey, that race was legit. If you've never raced on ice before without spikes, it hurts the head because you're terrified the whole way through that you're going to fall on your butt. Kristen, I thought it was really funny when you're like, I think it only works if you have spikes, right?
Yeah, a treaded tire doesn't matter if you have a treaded tire or a slick tire. Like, if you don't have spikes, then you're gonna do the same thing.
It doesn't matter. And I thought it was funny. I saw someone in the chat say we should have had butt pads. I'm like, yeah, we probably should have had butt pads.
Like those shorts that bikers wear that have like the
No. You need what football players put on there. Nike makes them where it's like it's like everything's covered.
Yeah.
I don't know those.
Well, I will show them to you. They're like Craft and Ride sells a pair of these.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And for those that were always concerned about our safety, thank you very much. We did talk about how to tie the rope around, and we all knew that around our waist, who wants to be cut in half? Around your arms, we just felt we felt pretty good because we didn't create slip knots, except for Joey. We have learned that Joey, he needs some assistance in a lot of areas. Tying knots is one of them.
Tying knots has always been a struggle for me. Building even summer camp. We put a summer camp 2 years ago, I think it was, and they just stuck me, and I had to tie knots on these like sleds. And it took me like 3 hours to cut and tie knots. It was very frustrating. Can you tie your
shoes?
I can tie my shoes. I learned how to tie my shoes, but when Scott says he showed us how, it was like more like a 10-second. Okay, guys, do it right here around your armpit. Okay, you got it. Tie it out.
Yeah. What? But seriously, you're.
I know. I can't believe I'm even justifying it. I'm embarrassed.
But hold on,
I should know how to tie.
Your teammate doesn't help you at all because she comes over and ties a knot that just comes untied in the middle of the race. So you both need some serious assistance.
I mean, it's a harder rope to tie a knot in because it's so thick.
I think part of it, like if I was slowing down a little bit.
You're just our knots.
Thank you, Kristen.
I didn't tie my knot. You tied my knot.
Oh!
I would have tied it. It probably would have come apart.
Okay,
thank you.
It was safe if you'd have tied the right knot. That's what we're trying to say here.
Yeah.
It would have been safe if. But thank you for all of the concerns out there. We do need to have someone that's on set with us that runs through safety things more than just like. Hey, don't ride on the street. It would be like, hey, that knot, if it slips, it's going to choke you, Joey. Like when we were sledding, did anyone catch where Lily just goes down like the length of the...
It starts tightening.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shoot.
At one point, your arm is over your head and the knot, nonetheless. Hopefully you put a smile on your face. We always want to distract you on what's happening in the world, just to put a smile on your face. That's the whole point of it, is to make you smile. And so I hope it did that, right? I mean, we were laughing.
I was laughing the whole time.
I think my favorite part was the sledding.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was screaming. It was a hot mess.
Yeah.
Scott hits a tree.
The only way I could keep going is if I held on to my rope and waited for Scott to
let me pull you down. Yes. Yeah. The screaming.
Why were you going so slow?
I don't know.
Because her feet. My kids sled on that every day. They love it. Okay, and they were critiquing the way we sledded down it. The problem was that your feet were out. They were saying.
Yeah, I didn't want to sit crisscross applesauce because I was scared I was gonna fly off, and I wanted some control. So I put my feet out, but then I didn't move anywhere.
Because your feet would hit the ground. Okay, a lot of fun. Thank you for those that are making the jump over from the One Wheel video. Today we got a great topic. We're going to start a series, Who's on the Microphone in Your Life? And today we're talking about the voices in your head. What are the voices in your head saying to you? So we're going to get to that in a little bit. We have live music, some more videos. Our hopes today on this channel is to connect you with Jesus in some form or fashion. Why do I say fashion? Because it's on you. You get to catch however you need to. Whatever's happening in your life this week, I understand the world is a crazy place. Your world, you could have got a job promotion, but at the same time, somebody could have lost their job. It's just the way the world works. And so today, you need Jesus to jump into your life where you're at. And if that even to you, you're like, whoa, I'm not into Jesus. That is okay. We give you permission to hang around, listen, and think about it for a second, okay? And so we think that creatively over the next few moments, you'll have an opportunity to do that. Kristen will be here singing with us. Joey will be here as well. He is not singing. Neither one of us are singing today.
No.
But he will come back later and teach us all how not to tie a rope. Actually, should be the way we do it, right? Is do not tie like that. He's gonna figure that one out. Okay. That said, it is 2 weeks from Valentine's Day.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Did you know that? Joey being married?
I would have known it like 3 days before.
Yeah. So we're here to help you.
Thank
Valentine's Day, because tomorrow's February 1st.
Yep.
So that means that Valentine's Day is 2 weeks away. We're trying to prepare you. Also, what is February 2nd? Do you know that?
February 2nd.
This isn't school. You don't have to put your hand in the air. I'm not gonna. But your hand was in the air.
I think, isn't it Groundhog's Day?
Ooh, yeah, winning
Nice, good
Groundhog
job.
Day. And Joey, what's so significant about the Groundhog Day?
Something about
He's gonna clear his throat.
something about like light.
What?
I don't know.
Something about light.
I don't know.
Light.
Daylight?
Daylight.
Like what? We're gonna get more sun?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, will you please leave a
I
comment?
can't believe that. Oh man,
What,
that's
you can't believe
embarrassing.
what? That
I
you don't know what
this.
Groundhog Day is? Okay.
It's
Here's
like everybody talks about it all the time.
Yeah, it happens every February
Happens
2nd.
every
Here's the
year.
deal.
Oh, shoot.
Joey, I can catch you like, oh wow, I'm caught off guard. You know, if Lily was on this side of the camera today, that would be her. But she's running tech today, so you are the one put on the spot.
Yeah, it's
What we're gonna do is let you guys drop a comment during this video about what you think Groundhog Day is and what happens if the groundhog sees a shadow, doesn't see a shadow. All those things, and then we'll let Joey come back and tell us what he's learned over this video. Just help put you into perspective of Valentine's Day. We have a video just for you. Enjoy, right?
So Valentine's Day is coming up. What are you getting your wife?
Nothing.
I don't think it works that way. Nothing?
Nothing.
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 Diabolical.
Yep, this year for Valentine's Day, I'm the present.
Oh, can I please be here when you tell her that?
Look, as if our wedding enough. Through the years, I power washed the deck. I YouTubed how to build a walk-in closet. I even changed the toilet paper roll. Sometimes without even being asked. I took her to Graceland twice.
But Graceland isn't a two-trip kind of place.
And do you know where she has her weekly women's Bible study every Monday night?
Do I want to know?
Right over there, in front of my 70-inch crystal clear True Tone LED, while I sit in the back room watching Monday Night Football on my kid's cracked iPad.
You saint.
So, this year, no presents, just presents.
What'd you just say?
I'm not getting her any presents. I'm giving her presents.
So let me get this straight. For Valentine's Day, you're not getting her any presents with a T. You're giving her your presents with a C.
That's what I said. Presents, not presents.
Diabolical.
Hey, honey.
Yeah?
As you can imagine, Valentine's Day did not go well for Jerry this year. Don't be a Jerry. Make those you love feel special.
Hey, that is such a great video. I do like those guys. Hey, we're gonna read a couple comments from you, those at home. If you would love to text in a picture of yourself, we would love it if you would. We share pictures of who watching all over the world. We'd love to see your pretty faces, what you're eating, what pets are with you, wherever it is. So snap a picture and text it to the number that's on the screen, which is 651-276. 8797. Text in your picture. We'll leave it up there for a little bit. But I like how we got a lot of people jumping in on Joey here on saying, Joey, you need to watch the movie Groundhog Day. It must happen.
I saw that.
Okay, have you ever seen the movie?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of. He is actually thumbing through the...
Yeah, Justin said that. I don't think I have.
You need...
I mean, if I have,
you would know.
I think I would know. But there's a lot of movies I've seen that I
Wait,
forget.
isn't that the one where like it's the same day over and over again?
Yeah, Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't
how that one ends.
don't remember.
I feel like maybe in my mind I thought I saw it, but I don't think so.
We also want to say early happy birthday to Amy and Teddy and the Groundhog Day all on the same day. I mean, seriously, how it just can't get better than that. Right. You get to know Joey, what happens on Groundhog Day besides Amy celebrating her birthday
Besides
and Teddy?
Amy and Teddy celebrating their birthdays, what happens is the groundhog comes out, and if it sees its shadow, I don't know which one, but it's either 6 more weeks of winter or something, or spring.
I can't remember
I
if
don't
the
know.
shadow is 6 more weeks.
Elizabeth Nichols in the chat. She's a science teacher, right? She's a science teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I'm just.
Yeah.
Okay, science teacher Elizabeth, she does this. If the groundhog sees the shadow and gets scared, goes back in, 6 more weeks of winter. If the groundhog stays out, winter's over. There you go.
Wow.
So winter's gonna be over in February?
Yeah, it's over.
Let's hope so.
Immediately and go straight
Yeah,
to
no,
summer.
but I don't know how accurate it is. I'm sure a lot of people know how accurate it is. But I do want to say thank you to everybody that is in the chat room chatting away. We love the energy over there. We love getting to read this. Thank you for those that are hopping in and talking about the groundhog. Joey, you now learned your brain has wrinkled.
It has wrinkled.
Yes.
Or has it?
It has. It should be. We're only here to help you. Okay, so you already have learned about the groundhog, Valentine's Day, heaps more to go. Kristen's going to sing a great song here in a moment. Kristen, what's the song you're singing?
It's called Pieces.
Pieces.
It's by Bethel.
Okay, we're going to sing Pieces here in a moment, and if you don't know the song, the words will be on the screen, and if you're not a singer or you're like, I'm on my break and it'd be weird if I did this, take a moment to just pause. Like, come on, you all know this in life. We just don't take enough time to just pause and just reflect on life and where we're at and those things that are happening in our lives. This is your moment to pause, okay? And so you can either hum along, sing along, turn up the TV and sing, whatever you need to do to have a pause, to reflect. Maybe you just need to read the words and go, oh, that's powerful. Oftentimes the songs we sing are people that are recording their experience with God, and they're writing it down so that we might be able to, that's exactly how I feel. I don't know about you. Maybe you're not that great with words. I'm not that great at writing out words. I feel like I can talk a few words here and there, but to write it out, not so good. But when I read other people's lyrics, I'm like, yeah, that's how I felt in that moment. And so maybe you're gonna read or sing the song with us. You're like, that's how I feel. And then it's to give worth to God over the next few moments, okay? And then we'll come back and we'll start the topic of the voices in my head or who's on the microphone, okay? Excited about the topic today. It's gonna be a good one. So check out this video. It just talks about love, and it's a cool setup. So check this out right here.
When did we forget how to love? Did it happen suddenly? Or was it a gradual decline? When did we forget the very foundation of the gospel? For God so loved. Love is what moved God to action. Love is what held Jesus to the cross. Love is what rolled away the stone. But we've forgotten that part. Without love, we are simply a resounding gong, a clanging cymbal, a bunch of noise. Without love, we are nothing. Is that what people see in us? Meaningless? Empty noise. Love is supposed to be patient and kind, gentle, not angry or arrogant. Yet in our effort to stand on truth, we have forgotten the very thing these truths are based on. Love. Never once did Jesus fail in this. Not in his heartbreak or his anger. Not in his joy or his betrayal. His default has always been love. Maybe it's time the church was more like Jesus.
What is up, everybody? I hope you liked that, all of those verses. We've played it in the past, and it's one of my favorite videos just because it just is a great reminder of all of the times that God and Jesus have commanded us to love first and love others. And this song that we're about to sing, it's called Pieces by Bethel Worship, and it's all about God's love for us and the characteristics of what love is and how we should love. So that's kind of why I really like this song. So we're just going to get started. And if you guys haven't heard this song before, there's going to be lyrics on the screen, or you can pull them up on your phone or your laptop if you're watching on your TV. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy and just take this moment to just sit still, be quiet, and have a moment with Jesus. And we're just, I don't know if you guys can hear anything, but I can't hear anything. So I'm not sure if, oh, hold on. That's actually, we can't hear anything? I forgot to plug something in. Okay.
And we are working on technical problems as we switch to, so we give Kristen a second to sort it out. We try things every week. This week we tried to move a keyboard in, and the laptop's not working too well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw it to, we have another video for you guys to check out as we work on technical issues here. It's one of those things that sometimes you run into. Thank you for your patience and willing to give us grace as we figure it out. So check out this video right here and we'll be right back. Enjoy this.
Who do you say that I am? When I think of myself, I know exactly what you see. Every flaw, every blemish, the scars of my hurts and my mistakes, the things I've done to myself, the things that have been said and done to me, that's who I am. You see a mother, a daughter, a sister, an aunt. You see the scarce shadow of a woman's potential irreversibly wrapped in failure. But then I hear it. That still, small voice. Who told you that? Who told you that you are defined by your mistakes? Who told you that you are ugly and broken? Who told you that you are only measured by what you give others? Who told you that brokenness and frailty are what you carry? Haven't you heard? You are not what everyone says you are. You are who God says you are, and you are His. He says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. He says you are a perfect design, made for a purpose, made for a destiny, and you are never alone. He says He'll never leave you nor forsake you. He goes behind you. He says you are bold. He says you are brilliant. He says you are brave. He says greater is He that is in you. You are a masterpiece, hand-painted by the Master Himself. You are who God says you are.
Are fixed now, and that is another great video that I love. And just my question to you is, who does God say that you are? It's probably a great question to ponder while we sing this song. unreserved, unrestrained. Your love is wild. Your love is wild for me. It isn't shy. It's unashamed. Your love is proud to be seen with me. To be seen with me. 'Cause you don't give your heart in pieces. You don't hide yourself to tease us. Uncontrolled, uncontained, your love is a fire, burning bright for me. It's not a spark, it's not just a flame. Your love is bright, and all the world will see. And all the world will see that you don't give your heart in pieces. You don't hide yourself to tease us. 'Cause you don't give your heart in pieces. And you don't hide yourself to tease us. Your love's not fractured. It's not a troubled mind. It isn't anxious. It's not the restless kind. Your love's not passive. It's never disengaged. It's always present. It hangs on every word you say. Love keeps its promises. It keeps its word. It honors what's sacred, 'cause its vows are good. Your love's not broken. It's not insecure. Your love's not selfish. Your love is pure. 'Cause you don't give your heart in pieces. And you don't hide yourself to tease us. 'Cause you don't give your heart in pieces. And you don't hide yourself to tease us. 'cause you don't give your heart in pieces. And you don't hide yourself to tease us. I hope you guys were able to just take a moment and listen to how God loves us and how his love is uncontrolled and uncontained for us, and it's wild. And if you've ever seen a wild horse, maybe a video of them, you just know that they run free, they have all of this place to roam, and they are a lot of heart and a lot of speed. And that's just what I kind of see. I just picture a wild horse when I hear that line that it says his love is wild for us. It just means he needs to go and run around all over the place because he can't even contain how much he loves us. But I hope you guys enjoyed worship. I love this song. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe you can take a line and put it in your pocket for this week. Just remind yourself how much God loves you. So as we go into Scott's teaching, I'm super excited about the voices that he's going to be talking about in our head, because, you know, we all have them. We all hear them. They're all there. And here is a great video just talking about set up a little bit about what he's going to be talking about today. So here it is.
Did you know that the human brain expresses only two fundamental emotions, love and fear? From these two, all other emotions are experienced. As Christians, we're called to live in God's love. But how do we live in love or fear? Humans can have many types of fear. There's the fear of the unknown, pain, death, and fear of choices, just to name a few. When we live in fear, we react to instead of act against our fear. But when we love, we have excitement, generosity, trust, and courage. Love strengthens and empowers, whereas fear weakens and disables. Perfect love, like a light, casts out all fear. For it says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Many times, our fears can be irrational. It's like believing in the boogeyman. The devil causes us to become fearful, but God is way bigger. When we give up our fears to God, we can live a full life in love that He has prepared for us. So which will you choose? Fear or love?
Alrighty then, Kristen killed it. Sorry about the technical problems. I just can't explain them. You know, I've always said, for as long as I've done this, and I've done what I am doing, I think I'm going on 22 years now of being a pastor. I've loved it. There's not been another thing I've looked at wanting to do, but I've always embraced technology to do what we're doing. And I've always said, if you live by technology, you die by it. Meaning, technology works so good when it's streaming right and videos are playing when we're live and all those things. It's all good. But when it ain't doing it right, when it just fails, boom, it fails on you. And so we're here to always offer an escape from what's happening in the world. We also want to point you to Jesus. We always ask this question: what is Jesus saying to you, and what are you going to do about it? This is a conversation between you and Jesus, not me and Jesus and you. This is really, what is Jesus saying to you today, wherever you're at, and you need Him differently than someone else in the chat room. And so what is Jesus saying to you, and what are you going to do about it? We are in a brand new series. So if you're a first-time guest today, welcome. My name's Scott Mendenhall. The series we're calling it is Who's on the Microphone? We got a microphone right here. And it should sound slightly different when I talk on this one, just because it's a different microphone. But we're asking, who's on the microphone in your life? Who's projecting voices into your head, and who are you listening to? Who's on the microphone, and who are you listening to? And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to take different things that could be inside your head talking to you currently, And that's what we're going to talk about over the next few moments, is who's on the microphone. And today we're going to start with one that's big and huge and scary. It's fear. When fear gets on the microphone, what are you doing? How are you responding to it? And what's the right way to respond or react to fear? And here's one of those interesting things about microphones. If you didn't know this, I'm going to set this aside now. If you didn't know, microphones, they were created to amplify sound, right? Without a microphone, you wouldn't hear me as well. I know that I have one of those voices that seem to carry and get loud, and God made me that way, and it's just cool like that. Like my mom used to always tell me at dinner time, Scott, you're yelling at me. And I wasn't. I was just excited and passionate about what I was eating. The broccoli was amazing. One thing I did learn as a kid with broccoli, don't hide broccoli in milk. You can't hide it, okay? You just can't. Green at the bottom still shows up in milk, and it doesn't taste good. So any of those young people listening right now, don't hide your broccoli in your milk. Here's just one thing I know about vegetables. They're good for you. They taste better when they're hot. When they're cold, they're not good. So eat them first, okay? That's my 2 cents to anyone that struggles with your green vegetables. Okay, where was I? Why was I talking about vegetables first? Why was I? My mom would always tell me at dinner, too loud, Scott, too loud, turn it down. And I'm sure I was just excited. But my voice, it just carries. It just does. Like when we're in here, everybody talks about how, and Lily, she has the same issue I do. Her voice carries, and we're on the same side in the studio. So our mic's like on 1 when Kristen and Joey's is on like 10. Because they're not. So their voices, they're just a little bit, they're just calmer than Lily and I. Lily and I can get excited about a rock. Okay, you just get, woohoo, a rock, I love it. That's just us. And so when we get on a microphone, you don't have to have them as loud, but they do project your voice. Did you know this, that the microphone was, you probably didn't know this. These are things that you don't know unless you research. I think it was 1876. Let me just double check my notes so you're not getting fake news here. It is 1876 was when the microphone was created. 1876, when I think about those, that date, I'm like, 1876. That seems so long ago. Like, did they have, clearly they had electricity, I think. I mean, it just feels like they were living with candlelights only then. I don't know. That's just how I think in 1876. I need to do a little bit of research on what actually it was like to live in that day and age. But that was when the microphone was created. In your life, we have microphones going off in our head that gives us voices all the time. And like I said, we're talking about fear. When you watch that video where it talks about there's two main things that are in our heads, which is love and fear, Jesus actually says the antidote to fear is love. Is that when you are fearful of maybe your marriage falling apart or getting sick or losing your job or not getting a pay raise or the promotion or the fear of being a parent, whatever the fear is for you, the only antidote to that is figuring out how to love. Where's the love component in there? And you're like, well, okay, so I'm afraid to drive. Where's the love component? That's for you to figure out, but that's the antidote to fear. You already have the solution. It's just now the implementation of the solution. And I'm not even being like, there's no jokes in that. I'm just being for real with that. I want to use a story to set up the power of fear or the power of the voices in our heads, really, with a great story. And it's only great because there's not a tragic ending to it. However, the middle part seems a bit tragic. So story time with Scott here. So tune in. I'll get real close for you for a second. Tune into my voice as you listen to me. You're not going to fall asleep. You're just going to be educated. Okay. All right, back up. Okay, so here's the story. Back, I don't know, 3 years ago in Florida, as a youth pastor, we had a student that desperately wanted a snake for Christmas. That's all he wanted. He begged his mom and dad, I want a snake. And we knew the parents quite well. They were leaders with us at the student ministry. And they're like, he's crazy. We're not getting him a snake. There's just no way we don't want a snake in our home. And I can get behind that. It's kind of weird to have a snake in your house. I mean, it just is. Like, they're just kind of creepy. I know people like snakes. I'm just like, I can live without them, okay? They do great things, okay? But seriously, they give me the willies. I don't even know what the willies are, but they do. Moving on. So they were against a snake, but things changed. One of the neighbors came over and said, hey, there's a python that gave birth to a bunch of snakes underneath our porch, and we're going to get him out of here, but would you like one of the baby snakes to give to your son? And they're like, well, it's free to buy a python. We're not going to do it, but you're going to give us a baby python. Okay, that's cool. And so they go over and get the snake, and they give the snake to their son and go, here you go, Merry Christmas. They have no container, so the little boy is holding on to the little python. And in Florida, it's not uncommon for you to have pythons giving birth or laying eggs and all those things underneath your porch or any dark. It's just Florida. People have let their snakes go in the Everglades. They come back into the city. And so now he has a snake. Their aunt, they're going to the pet store to get the supplies necessary to keep the snake alive, like a heating lamp, a heating rock, an aquarium, all these things. And so they're on the way. The student of ours is holding on to the snake in his hand, playing with it. And then they go into the pet store. And as they go into the pet store owner is in the back of the room, and they're kind of wandering around. And as the pet owner comes to the front of the store, they see the little boy or the student with the snake in his hand. And he starts to freak out on him, saying, hey, put the snake down, throw it down on the ground. And the kid's like, it's just a baby python. I'm not going to throw it on the ground. This isn't what you do. You don't throw it on the ground. And so he's like, get it out of your hands. And eventually they gently put it on the counter. And they're like, why are you freaking out? And they said, he goes, that's a cottonmouth. That is not a python. And they're like, wait, what? How do you know the difference? And there is a difference. You can tell the difference is the tail end of a baby cottonmouth and a python. They look very similar. When you first look at a python to a cottonmouth, it's the tail that's different, and also a venomous snake's head is triangular and not straight. That's how you know if you're coming up on a poisonous snake, is their head is like a triangle. Look at that. You learned so much today. It's like National Geographic around here. Groundhog Day, how to tie a rope wrong, all these things. You're just being educated. Okay, so the pet owner's like, hey, if you were bitten by the snake, it wouldn't be good. And the student, you probably know where the story's going. The student's like, I was just bitten before I came in here. And they're like, you got to go to the hospital now. We can't even wait for the ambulance to come here. We'll call and let them know you got to get there. You got to get there now. And they're all kind of like taken back a little bit, like, whoa, you are freaking out. You ever been around somebody that freaks out and you're just like, I'm not as concerned as you are right now, but it's because they know the facts and you don't. And here's this guy knowing the facts of what's about to happen. And so the friends of ours take their kid reluctantly to the hospital, going, because there's clearly nothing wrong with the student at the moment. Nothing's actually happening to him. So they're like, this is a bit overkill, don't you think? And as they go, all of a sudden he starts to have seizures, and all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, this is an emergency. It wasn't what we thought it was. They get him to the hospital, and as he enters into the hospital and they get him on the bed and they start to check all his vitals, he flatlines like he's dead. They revive him. They try to track down what they need, the anti-venom. I'm not sure what I forget what it's called, but the anti-venom, the serum, they've got to track down. And they have to get all of the serum in Florida to this hospital to give to the student, because baby snakes don't know how to regulate the venom that they shoot. They just shoot all the venom, which is worse to be bit by a baby snake than an adult snake, because an adult snake only puts what they think is necessary to take care of their prey. And so this student of ours has all the snake venom in his body. He flatlines again, and eventually they get all the serum into the Miami hospital, and they save him. They thought they were going to have to amputate his arm at one point. It's just wild, like just a story where we were praying for the student, and all. I mean, it's just a wild story. I think it was Animal Planet came in and shot a documentary. Maybe you've seen the documentary. It aired at one point on Animal Planet, because it was like just this wild story. And then the idea that it took all the serum in Florida to save the boy, it's just wild. And what I've learned from that was a lot of things. One, don't play with snakes, okay? Just don't. It's just like, don't. Even if you know their head's triangle or flat, don't mess with them. Second thing I learned was this, is that even if you were to cut the head off a copper snake and think you're good to go, if you were to prick yourself still messing around with the head of the snake with the fangs, the venom would still go in you and you would still have problems. Though the snake is dead and the head has been separated from the body of the snake, you still have problems. Okay, now why would I tell you that? What is that? Am I just trying to talk about snakes today to educate? No. What I'm trying to correlate here, now jump with me, is this. That we have an enemy as followers of Jesus that is trying to mess with us, that's trying to put voices on the microphone in our head saying things that we should not be listening to, but the enemy is putting voices in our heads to distract us, though he actually he's dead. He like the battle's been lost already for the devil. How do I know that? Because when I read through what the authors of the Bible talk about, when Jesus died on a cross and rose again, at that very moment, this is the power of being a follower of Jesus. That very moment when Jesus died and rose again, the enemy, the devil, Satan, lost all power. Gone. Severed. Just it's over. Head from body severed. But the truth is, just like the body of a snake still wiggles and slithers, though the head's been cut off and can give you the willies, like, right? Like, it messes with you when you see a snake just still moving with no head. It creeps you out and can make you think thoughts. The enemy, though, has lost the battle. He can still come and give you the willies. He can still put thoughts in your head that you entertain, which then take you down a road that is dangerous. He can put fearful thoughts in your mind that would destroy your potential or your greatness. There are thoughts the enemy can put in your head that you're not good enough, that the divorce you just walked through has ruined your future plans and hopes and all of those things, that the sickness you had will destroy your ability to walk, that the loss of a loved one, you'll never love again. All of these things that you can buy into, though the enemy has no power, he still is wiggling around trying to make it miserable as many as we can, or he can. That's why I start with the story of that. I wrote it like this, probably to make it a little bit clearer than what I just said, because I just don't want to miss it. I don't want you to miss it. I wrote it like this. Satan was defeated on the cross. The battle was over. The victory was won. That's all past tense. Thanks to the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus has rendered Satan powerless, but Satan can still wiggle and squirm and make the hairs on our necks stand up. It's just true. I don't know about you, but I have moments in my life where I've allowed the enemy to trick me, to make me think or feel different ways than I should have. Again, with the snake correlation, if we step on Satan's fangs, he can still poison us and cause serious harm. We're not in heaven yet, because that's where it's going to be good up there. I'm going to be one-wheeling on streets of gold up there. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so good. But if we allow the enemy to continue to do evil schemes in our lives, plot evil things, it will distract us and it can take us out. And one of the biggest things the enemy does in our lives is put fear in front of us. Fear paralyzes most of us. I was going to bring in the footage, and I should have. I forgot. If you watched our Christmas Day special, there was a moment where I was out on a cliff, out in the middle, like just hanging over the edge, and I'm perfectly fine. Like I feel no scariness. I have no voices in my head telling me back up. However, I did have Joey behind me going, okay, that's good enough, right, Scott? Like, let's back up. Like, you're out there front. And Joey was afraid for me. Joey was struggling with fear, and he was very safe. He was like 20 feet back, holding on to a tree. And then the funny bit was, if you know the story, our cameras, my camera, I put on the hood of the car, and it fell, and we had to go back and reshoot a lot of things. Joey got on the mic in my head and said, Scott, we're not going to refilm that, are we? We're not going to go back up onto the cliff, are we? Like, that would be silly. Like, that would be ludicrous. Let's not do that. It gives me the willies to be out there. That's what voices in my head. And I was like, Joey, oh yeah, we're going to go back because now we can get the drone out because it'll be daylight. We can get this epic shot. And so you should go back and you'll see the scene. It has been pieced together by a couple days of shooting. We just wore the same clothes, so it felt like the same moment. And Joey still held onto the tree going, this is ridiculous. He was bought into the fear where I wasn't. Was Joey wrong? Was it wrong for him to be fearful at that moment? No, a lot of times fear does keep us from doing completely dumb things. My fear level clearly is lower than many. Like when I saw knots around or rope around people's shoulders and heads, I'm like, we're all good. We'll have plenty of time if they got tight. Like their arms will keep them from being suffocated too much. It's good. We're all good. It was a calculated risk. So I felt no fear. Actually, I don't think any of us felt any fear in that moment. However, a lot of you expressed in the chat room a little bit of fear for us. Thank you. We know that you love us. But each one of us, we handle fear different, and we find moments of fear in different things than other people. Zero fear when I was out on that cliff. I did have like thoughts of, boy, if I fell off this, that'd be a bummer. But there was no like, don't go do that, Scott. I don't know why that is. Why my fear is lower than others. Maybe I've just done dumb things my entire life, so dumb things don't scare me. But when fear gets on the microphone, for all of us, we all respond very similar. Maybe for me, it's not the physical stuff. Maybe for me, it's when I lay in bed and I think about the future for my kids, or the future of my finances, or health, or my job, or what. And I'm not even just saying that. For me, I'm putting in, what is your fear? Is fear on the microphone, and is it paralyzing you right now to move forward? Because over the next few moments, we want to give you an escape from your fear. That's our hopes. At the end of the day, that's our hopes. We're going to jump into Psalms chapter 23, verse 1 through 6. A couple weeks ago, we had Lily. We were going to ask Lily to rap it, but she did not. But then she rapped in the latest One Wheel video. The girl's feeling it. She'd probably rapping soon, have her own album drop. You know how she rolls. What would be a good rap name for Lily? Someone, please put it in the chat today. What should Lily's rap name be? I have a few thoughts, but I'll let you guys come with your ideas. Okay, Psalms 23, verse 1. Here it is. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Whew, I like that. That is such a powerful, it's been in a bunch of raps before, by the way. If you can name that, you win. Just an applause for me for doing it. But it has been in several raps out there, and it's just such a good reminder. But I've spoke on this before, and I just want to, again, come back to it. The part that I highlighted here, you prepare a table in the presence of my enemies, in front of my fear, the voices that are on the microphone that I'm saying, God, take the voices away from me, give me an escape. Give me an escape from the voices that are yelling at me, all of those things that are in my head, give me an escape. But he doesn't. He's like, no, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one better for you. I'm going to step in, and I'm going to prepare a table for you. I'm going to be with you, in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the voices in your head shouting at you, I'm going to be with you. To me, that feels better when you think about it, that God's saying, I'm in the mess with you. I'm not just going to always be your rescuer, though he does. He's saying, I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to prepare a table for you in your mess. When the voices are the strongest, I'm right there with you. So therefore, that begins to go, oh, that is what love is. There's the answer, the antidote to fear is that you are never alone. And therefore, you should be able to feel love increasing as fear decreases, because you have got to remind yourself you're not alone. And maybe some of you you're going, okay, that's good. That's that Jesus stuff that's weird to me. It's like you're saying you're never alone, yet I don't ever see him. I can't. And you're going, this is what makes it weird to me. And if I can just jump into that thought, that voice in your head saying, hold up. Do your research before you just jump to that conclusion that if Jesus is real or not. Like seriously, don't just speculate. Don't allow someone to tell you something without studying it. Even the authors in the Bible, they come along and say, hey, I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to give you locations and dates and things to make sure you facts check this. But I want you to be like the Bereans. There's a group of people that would study what the authors were writing to make sure it actually was real. That it isn't just, okay, I believe it because that person wears the right clothes. I don't want you to just believe me. I want you to be a studier of the Bible, a studier of what the authors wrote. I want you to know that Jesus is the Son of God. That's what I want you to do. I need you to do that because I don't want you to just believe that Jesus is who he said he is because I said so. Or what a lot of people have done, they've always just said, well, the Bible says so, and like that's it. No, you need to know that the Bible is 100% accurate. And don't just quote things from the Bible because you think it's in there. Know it's in there. Give a reference where it is because that makes it powerful. That begins to become a solution to the voices in our head when we believe that the authors in the Bible are real living people that recorded real living events so that we might be able to tap into what Jesus has done in the past and how God handled life before Jesus. These are all the things that should encourage us to continue moving forward. And so if your voice in your head is fear today, I want a couple other things to be just reminding you, or I want you to be reminded of in the Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. When the psalmist, this is David writing, he is my shepherd. David is trying to remind us that, hey, he leads me. That God is my leader. He takes me to where the locations are. He is right there with me. He's not leaving me. Some of the authors write it, Jesus will never leave you or forsake you. He's right there with you. So my shepherd's going to lead me. Are you allowing Jesus to lead you in every area in your life? I don't know about you. It's difficult for me to always answer that with 100% truth. Yes, Jesus is leading every area in my life because there's a lot of self in me and a lot of self gets in the way. And then self gets on the microphone and says, hey, Scott, this would be a good idea. Don't worry if it's the right thing to do. Just go ahead and do it because it's going to feel good and you want it. You actually probably need it. So go into debt for it. It'll to ask forgiveness and it is permission kind of thing. Those are the voices that jump into your head, and then you don't allow Jesus to lead you. And we've got to stop selecting moments where Jesus is the leader of our life and let him be a leader in every area. Just because somebody offers you a job promotion with more money and more of this and a cooler office and all these things doesn't mean that's the move to take. But in our minds, we're like, but I've been wanting this always. But what if in 2 years from now, there's something better? What if that moment you're like, yes, this is exactly what I want, but God knows the big story and go, no, that's going to destroy your marriage. That's going to take you out of the game as a dad or a mom. We've got to come and submit our lives, our stuff, our dreams, everything to Jesus and say, is this the wise thing to do? Going on, David writes, he makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. Remember what we read a moment ago at the end of this where he goes, with my enemies still around. Meaning the battle is on my left and my right, in the front and the back, above me and below me. It's a hot mess, but I get to find rest because I am following a good shepherd that leads me to quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valleys, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. That's how David ends it. But he constantly is giving you the backstory going, is Jesus leading you? Is God giving you the direction in your life? You know what often I've learned in my life is that when I'm not allowing God to have full reign and everything, you know what I start feeling in my life? Because I've now put myself in control, I start to feel the fear. Is this the right thing for my life? Am I headed in the right direction? Am I sabotaging my future hopes and dreams? Am I sabotaging myself as a father? Am I sabotaging my income for all of these things? It's like, because it's all on me all of a sudden. It's like, I gotta do. And yes, you better work hard. You better outwork a lot of people. This isn't about being lazy. Pray to God, God, just show up with $100,000 as I sit here and do nothing. No, don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. If you're a follower of Jesus, don't be lazy. Get after it. Get out there and point people to Jesus. As we get out there and we do work, we're constantly going and pointing people to Jesus. So go. Don't be lazy. I don't know. If you felt lazy, get up and go. Go do something, okay? Don't be lazy. This isn't a conversation about, okay, we get it as a follower of Jesus, now just sit around and do nothing. No, we work hard. We work hard. And when fear is on the microphone, we pray to God. God, take it away, but if he doesn't, we better be reminded that he's right there with us. Fear has the ability to paralyze or catapult you. It can make you stop dead in your tracks, or it can catapult you into a relationship with Jesus you've never had before. But it is a choice. And before we move on from that verse where he says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Be careful who you invite to that table. Because if you're looking around and you start making deals with your enemies around, go come to my table, have that, you've got the wrong person sitting at your table. Jesus needs to be sitting at that table. You need to have the conversations with Jesus. If you're feeling insecure in your life, don't go pointing fingers at other people going, I feel insecure because of them or what they're doing. My group of friends don't want. If that's you, stop pointing fingers. That is Jesus trying, probably saying, I'm at your table. Stop inviting your friends at the table. Let you and me deal with this. Because it's that piece of, when we feel those things rising up, it's the plank in our eyes we got to get taken out before we go to our friends and go, you created a problem in my life. No. Keep Jesus at your table and sort out your stuff. Because oftentimes we'll find out, my insecurities, the fears of my group of friends, the fear of my job is me in listening to the voices in my head or the voices that's on the microphone that's telling me a story that's not true. It's made up and it's just making me feel a certain way. It's not cool. Stop listening to the voices in your head. Listen to the voice that should be at the table. Jesus. Listen to Jesus. I mean, I know it sounds so simple, right? It's like when you're a little kid, no one teaches you. Think about this for a moment. If you're a mom or a dad or you're a grown-up sibling and you have young kids, no one's teaching kids to be afraid before bed. But there's something about when you lay in bed and it's just you and your thoughts, you can tell yourself a story that just gets you very afraid. Your blood pressure rises. You tell a story without Jesus involved in it, and now all of a sudden you're terrified. You can't sleep. It robs you of a good night's sleep, and it just goes downhill from there. See, I wrote it like this. I want to talk about overcoming fear. It might be for you when you were a little child, you were afraid of a thunderstorm. It might be that you're a teenager and you're actually afraid that your parents' marriage may not make it. Today, now that you're older, so many of us, we have grown-up fears, right? We're afraid that the economy might not make it. If you watch what happened in the stock market this week, you're like, what? Oh my gosh, what is happening in the stock market? Somebody can mess with it like that and you're freaking out and fears entered in. You think you're adult. What if I lose my job and can't provide for my family? What if my house roof falls in? We're afraid of something that's going to happen to one of our children. What if they get sick? What if I get sick? What if my parents get sick? What if they can't fight the virus? Some of you, unfortunately, right now, you're afraid of what's going to happen to you in your marriage. It could be you're worried and pray about the health of somebody else that you love. These are real fears. These are not, I'm not making a small joke here and there, but these are fears that rob us of our future. If we buy into the fears that are getting projected into our head, they can stop us dead in our tracks. And then we don't go after Jesus as hard as we should, and we don't unlock our God-given greatness. The author Paul writes to Timothy, a young church planner, if you will, in a book in the Bible called 2 Timothy. Why is it called 2 Timothy? Because it's the second letter to Timothy. Here's the deal. When we talk about books, they're not typically wrote as books to an individual. They're letters to a group of people that is teaching them about who Jesus is and their eyewitness accounts and their experiences with Jesus. And they write letters to encourage one another. This was their form of Instagram, I suppose. It was just really, really slow. It took months to get letters to each other. And so you can imagine, hey, Paul, I have this thing going on in my church. Can you help me? 30 days go by. He gets the letter, writes the letter. 30 more days. You're looking at like 2.5 months before you get an answer. And you're like, oh my gosh. Think about patience back then. We're irritated if we text someone and in 30 seconds, we don't see the little bubble saying that they're typing. Or then here, let's be honest, if you just know this truth, somebody is watching today going, you know what, when I see the bubbles come up like they're thinking and they're typing and then it goes away, you get super frustrated. You're like, I know you saw my, what is your problem? Right? Like that's where we are. We want instant, just communicate back to me. If that's you, patience. It's a virtue and we should all work on it. Okay, if I've ever done that to you, I apologize. No, I do. Facetiously apologize, because if I did it, it was probably one of my children on there. I don't know the things that happen on my phone most of the time. Okay, so let's get back to Paul, to Timothy, in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. Here it is. Paul writes, for God has given us a spirit God is not, it's clear that we need to put the not in there, not giving us a spirit of fear and timidity, but power, love, and self-discipline. Paul goes in, we aren't programmed to be fearful. That happens because of the fall of man. Then all of a sudden fear enters in. So when we tap into fear, we're tapping into something that is unnaturally in us then. It shouldn't be there. We need to get it out of there. We need to be tapping into, as Paul says to Timothy, hey, listen, don't be timid, but don't be hesitating, but understand this, that you don't be timid, but I lost my place, but of power, love, and self-discipline. You are filled with power. Where's the power come from? Love. When we fill ourselves with love, it gives us the power, and self-discipline. We have the ability to discipline ourselves. So when the voices get onto the microphone, when the voices are right here shouting at you, you have the ability to say, I ain't listening to you today. Get out of my head, fear. I'm not going to allow you to control me. I am putting Jesus, the Good Shepherd, in control of this. And he allows me to have a table set in the middle of my storms in life. I ain't listening to you anymore. And get him off the microphone. Because we are full of power, love, and self-discipline. 1 Peter chapter 5, different author who hung around Jesus. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. See, I love Peter because if you read through the life of Peter, Peter was a bit of an idiot. He put his foot in his mouth a lot. He said he believed Jesus, and then he denied him. He was like, Jesus, tell me to get out of the boat, and I'll walk on the water with you. And he does, and then he sinks. And he's got all these ups and downs in his life. I feel like I can identify with that. Like, woo, did something good for God. Oh, God, where are you at in my life right now? Oh, God, you're doing so. Oh, where are you at? I feel like I can identify with Peter often. So Peter, later on in his life, he starts writing down his experience and things he's learned with time, from when he first met Jesus as a teenager to well into past 50 years old, he begins to write down things he's learned. So 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, stay alert, he says. Watch out for your great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. It's the reminder that the enemy knows that he's been defeated, his head's been cut off, and his body's still wiggling around trying to take people with him because he's like, man, my life's pretty messed up now. I know I am ending up in hell. This is going to be a rough deal. Misery loves company. And so he's going around trying to make people's lives miserable and to make them stumble and fall through temptation or to buy into some of the lies, the voices that get into our head. And so the enemy's coming around trying to make all of us distracted. And if I can be really brutally honest, I think he's done a really good job a lot of times, is that we get distracted by current events in the world. Think about it. When the microphone was made in 1876, you were really only concerned with what was happening in your village, okay? You didn't know what was happening. If you lived like here in Maple Grove, Minnesota, you only knew what was happening, probably not even in the whole city of Maple Grove. You just knew what was happening in your neighborhood. You didn't know what was going to happen in Alabama or Mississippi. There was no way to know. It would take months for you to know what happened in Alabama. But today, we get notified when there's something happening in a completely different world, different state, different place. And I love technology, so this isn't a, hey, we should all get off. No, but we now are in a life that we get all this information thrown at us, and we now become fearful of something that's happening in Mississippi that doesn't impact us here in Minnesota. Unless you're from Mississippi and have relatives there, then you would be rightfully so concerned. But if you had no connections to Mississippi, and you hear news of some crazy beetle that comes out of the ground and eats toes, right? You're like, oh my gosh, it's going to come to Minnesota. And then it's not true. You just hear it and now you're worried. And then all of a sudden you have all these fears that you didn't need to be afraid of. And I made that up. Please do not. Somebody slice that out and goes, there's these beetles coming out and it's called fake news. Don't do that, okay? I made it up. It's not real. I didn't read it. Don't panic. But you see my point, is that we live in a world right now that instantaneously I can get fears projected into my life that I have no business worrying about because it actually doesn't immediately make me in danger. It doesn't put my life in danger or my family in danger or my loved ones. I want to be able to know so I can help and pray with other people, see needs and meet needs. So I'm not down on finding out that information. We have to also have an outright understanding that we live in a time period that our bodies are not created to get all this information dumped in on us. We got to be able to go, okay, that is that group of people there. I'm going to pray for them. I do not need to be concerned about that. That's not going to happen here. Isn't it? But I'm going to pray for them. So, because what would love require us to do is to jump in the mess and help them, but we don't need to become afraid because the enemy is trying to get to live a life in life of fear. We stop moving forward. I mean, I see it all the time. What I love about the crew I get to do life with, Lily, Joey, and Kristen, and those are who we shoot the videos with. For the most part, they have hesitations, but they're not too fearful. However, I've asked sometimes, what would you do? Like, I had a finishing gun, which is a small, very thin nail gun, and I was like, how much money would it take to have one of these shot through one of your toes? Like, I felt like that was a legitimate question. They all looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, no money at all. I was like, what? Are you serious? If somebody walked in my house right now and said, if you shot this into your little toe, I'd give you $5,000. I'm like, I'd probably do it. $5,000? Like, it's like they couldn't wrap their head around it. And so there's where the line is drawn when it comes to my ideas in fear. They were definitely afraid. They begin to project thoughts of, what if you lose your little toe and you can't walk anymore? I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, people break their little toe all the time. I'm sure it's important and you need it, but I think you can balance still. But nonetheless, you're like, what does that have to do with anything? It's just a pause in the story of the day just to keep you interested. We talked about toes today and nail guns. Well done. It was on the list today. I can cross it. It's not. Okay, so we got the enemy who's coming around to drive fear in your life, and it paralyzes us. And what I was saying about the group of people I get to do life with, they're typically, yep, let's go after it. They'll have hesitations, but they get after it. It's okay to have hesitations because that's a lot of wisdom. That's what wisdom is to get you to look at a situation and go, what's the wise thing to do? You don't need to jump off all bridges and cliffs all the time. That's dangerous. That would be silly. What I love about Holly, I might be jumping off a bridge, but Holly's down there measuring it secretly so she knows how deep it is so that she feels good at what I'm doing, whereas I think I'm being like, woohoo, risk taker, yeah! She's sitting back going, it's okay, I already measured it. He's not going to break any legs. It's good. Anybody else want to go? Go for it. We all feel like we're doing something really awesome, and she's like, you guys are idiots. I measured it. It's all okay. Holly, my wife, is in control of all things around here. And so what we got to take from Peter is he's trying to remind, hey, stay alert. Be mindful of when something jumps onto the microphone, when somebody jumps onto the microphone in your life and starts talking, you listen to not the voice in your head or who's on the microphone, but you listen to God. You stay alert. You're like, oh, no, that's a voice in my head. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to give it any leverage in my life. Revelations chapter 5, verse 5. This is the last book in the Bible. If you got like a paperback version, you flip all the way back. A lot of people get afraid of Revelations because of what's in there, and they're like, I don't understand. It's like talks about the end of the world, and that kind of freaks me out. I'm going to get to that 1 minute. But here you go. Revelation chapter 5, verse 5. Then one of the elders said to me, do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. The Lion of Judah is a major symbol in Hebrew tribe of Judah. Okay, so maybe you're like, okay, now we got two lions going here. We got the lion that prowls around putting voices in my head and getting on a microphone, and then there's the lion has triumphed, the lion of Judah. They're talking about Jesus has won the battle. And that's what you have to be reminded, that Jesus won. When he died and rose again, he won. That's the reminder. So when you're afraid, you're reminded that Jesus is no longer dead. He's alive. Some say that fear is the opposite of faith. I believe that fear is placing your faith in the what ifs. I don't think it's the opposite of faith. I just think we go, what if I fail? What if I don't make it? What if they don't love me? What if I go to ask that person out and they say no? But what if they say yes? What if we just ask the what ifs and go with the positive what ifs, not the negative? But we all do it. We go to the negatives because it guards ourselves. So what I want us to understand this as we wrap up. What you fear the most reveals what you value the most. So fear isn't always bad. Okay? I'm not here to say if you fear, you're wrong and no good person. No. What we fear the most reveals what we value the most. So now it allows you to know what you value. And when you figure out what you value, then you can know, okay, am I valuing the right things? Okay? Secondly, what you fear the most also reveals where you trust God the least. I'm going to read that all over again so you can get it. What you fear the most reveals what you value the most. Secondly, what you fear the most reveals where you trust God the least. I'm not trusting God with blank. Write it down somewhere. When fear creeps in, go, I'm not trusting God with my money or my health or this. And then begin to, okay, how do I work on trusting God? How do I work on allowing God to be the good shepherd? We have to decide here and now that we're not going to give the devil a seat at our tables. Our shepherd prepares the table before us in the presence of our enemies, and we get to decide who sits at the table or not. By the power of the Holy Spirit, we get to decide who joins the special meal, who gets to be a part of dinner. We get to choose. And just to give you, John chapter 10, verses 11, I am the good shepherd. These are Jesus' words. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I lay my life down. So when we talk about Jesus as my shepherd, that's the kind of shepherd we're following, somebody that's come to serve us. God wants us to focus, I wrap up with this, God wants us to focus less on who is that surrounding us and focus more on the fact that he's sitting with us. His presence at our table is greater than the presence of any amount of fear that surrounds us. God's got your back. You got to remember that. You can't forget that. So remember, you're not alone. And when fear gets on the microphone, it's your job to get it off the microphone. Okay? Next week, we're going to talk about another topic of when comparison gets on the microphone. We've talked about that in the past. I got some new stuff to talk about comparison. I'm stoked on it. So when comparison gets on the microphone, what's that like? When you're driven by comparison, where are you going to end up in your life? Let's pray really quick. Jesus, I thank you for everybody that's logged on right now, that's going to watch it throughout the week. I thank you for their voice in the chat. I ask that you speak directly to them. Reach through the screen, tap them on the shoulder. May they have butterflies in their stomach right now going, okay, I know Jesus is working on my fear. And may we work on putting you above our fear, that we know that you are alive and you've beaten the enemy. And when the enemy wiggles and makes the hair stand on our, may we be reminded that you won. And that the only power the enemy actually has is the power we give him. May we spend more time reminding ourselves of the good things you've done for us. So Jesus, show up and show off in each person's life. As I know of a few prayer requests, Tori in his back, I ask that you would take the pain away, that he'd be able to move better and quickly, that you would restore his strength so he can get back to work. I ask that you would show up in a big way. Jesus, we're very grateful for what you do in our lives and how you answer prayers. And then I also pray for my dad who fell yesterday, that you would be with him as he is super sore and can't move around, that you would give him the ability to walk again and feel young again. Jesus, we love you. Use all of us to do something pretty special. In your name, amen. Thank you, everybody, for hanging with us today. We have some upcoming events, but before we do that, we're going to get to giving. Joey and Kristen are over there. Are you guys cold today?
Yeah.
We are. Well, I was pretty good for a while, and then
you got cold.
And then I got cold.
Yeah.
Well, it's only going to be colder next week. It's supposed to be a high of -6.
-6.
-6 would be a good one. We'll find
18 degrees.
Yeah.
Or 18 degrees. 18
mile
miles.
an hour
wins. It's going to be a great Sunday next week. We might be in our snowsuits, just prepare you. But we do want to give you a chance to be faithful with your resources, and we don't do this because we have to. We do it because when we talk about obedience and full obedience to what the owners in the Bible talk about, they do talk about trusting Jesus with our resources. They know. They already knew. God knows our hearts. He knew that we would be so pulled towards hoarding all of our own money, and that it would be an indication of our either trust or lack thereof trust in Jesus. And so he puts a challenge in front of us saying, hey, giving a portion of our resources. Now, if that turns you off, hey, this is between you and Jesus, not me. I'm not here telling you to give. I'm here. I would suggest that you are obedient to everything that the owner's manual says, that what Jesus says that we would do, because there's blessings hooked to it. Now, that's between you and Jesus, but we do want to give you a moment to be faithful in your resources. You can text this number right here. You can text 77977 to unlock. And when you do that through your smartphone, it walks you through super easy how to do that. You can set up an automatic giving, so hey, it just happens. I know Holly and I, with our 8 kids, that's the easiest option, so that it's always happening when we want it to happen. You can also go to unlockchurch.com and you can give there. It just look for give and it'll walk you through there. It's the same platform as if you texted, okay? So that's between you and Jesus to do that. I do want to say thank you to everyone, that your generosity out there. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. One, that you trust God. I just, for me, to see people trusting God with the resources, it's those fruit that you see. It's like, oh, look, that person, man, they're allowing God to be the good shepherd in their life, and they're listening and being obedient. Thank you. And then thank you for your generosity, because you're allowing us to spread the good news across the world every day. Like, we get countless stories, the staff and I, we have countless stories of what's happening online, in person. So many good stories of what Jesus is doing, in that we're able to see needs and meet needs. I thank you for your love and your generosity. So I hope you hear that from me. And that said, we have upcoming events that we want to make you aware of. One is next Sunday in the tundra of Minnesota. We have a chili cook-off happening on ice. It's going to be so much fun. Make sure you bundle up. This is only an outside event. There's no inside. It's not an option. Bring your chili, compete. The winning person or team gets the trophy. Your name gets etched in the trophy, and so it could be yours. Just come with your chili. We'll have a generator down on ice to keep crock pots going. It's gonna be a lot of fun as Kristen almost falls on the other side.
Almost.
Wait.
I had to grab
She had to grab.
You
Joey
did.
didn't even go to grab me.
He did it.
I had to
He
grab
was gonna
him.
let you
Yes,
fall.
I did it. I do realize
He
that.
was
I kind of
just
just like.
Unbelievable.
Did nothing.
Okay, so Joey, are you making a chili next week?
You know,
His wife's
Michaela
making a
or
chili.
yeah, maybe one of us will be.
One of us will be.
One of us will be.
She
I
has
might put the
She's
beans
lying.
in the crock pot, and then I'll let her do the rest.
Okay, great.
I'm
You're
helping.
participating. Yeah,
I'm
you're helping. You're
participating.
doing your part. I got it. Yeah.
So maybe my name can be Joey and Michaela instead of just.
I think
Michaela.
if you dump the beans in, I think totally your
Yeah.
names could be on it.
Yeah.
But if you only sit in the other room, actually, even if you sit in the other room and hold baby Blake,
Yeah.
so she can make the chili, I still think your name could be on it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think these are all really great options, you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Okay.
Joey and Michaela
Yeah.
will be making a chili next week. However, I do like to point out that I have never been on the chili with Holly. Holly's won 3 years in a row, and it's just Holly wins. I had no participation in that. There was no me keeping 5 or 7 kids entertained while she cooked. None of that. I got 0 credit of her chili.
Yeah.
Don't learn from our mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then Kristen, are you going to bring a chili?
What?
I tried. I really went all out last year on my chili, and it wasn't good. I don't know.
Don't let the fear creep in.
Ooh,
Don't let
Joey
that
dropping it like it's hot.
You got it.
I was literally up all night stirring the chili and making sure it was gonna be good, and it wasn't good at all compared to everyone else's. So I'm just
Whoa, comparison. That's what we're talking about next week.
I know, but
Woo!
dude, it's so good. No, I thought my chili was good. It was okay by itself. And then Holly's chilies was really good.
Oh, she's comparing. Thank you for setting it up for next week. This will be
I
good.
just don't know how to make good chili.
Okay, so this is another year for you to try that. Okay, so that's next Sunday. If you want to come and you're still with us online, text the number that's on your screen so we can give you the location. It is at 12:30 next week, so you will watch this. Then when it's over, if you're local in Minnesota, you'll show up. But you got to text to give the address. We're not about to put the address of the location on the YouTube or on YouTube. That just feels unwise. So text the number there so you can get information. And text to let us know you're bringing a chili. And bring heat warmers and all kinds of stuff because it's going to be cold. But we're Minnesotans. And we know what we won't. And there will be no one next week complaining about cold because we are Minnesotans. We live here. It's meant to be cold.
Yep, for sure.
There will be no I'm cold.
As long as we are allowed to dress appropriately.
Dress appropriately, yes.
Okay.
All of the layers.
Yeah, all your clothes, no complaint. Okay, and then Joey, what else do we have?
We have the Winter Olympics for the challenge. So for middle school and high school students, we have the Winter Olympics. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a bunch of games, competitions. We'll be in teams, and it's going to be a really good time. And then we're going to even have some worship on the ice. And so that'll be sweet. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. on February 12th. So we want to see all the middle school and high school students. Invite your friends. It's going to be a blast. But you want to text the number 651-276-8797 for the location and all of that. So you can do that, but hope to see you all there.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. And then lastly, we are on the hunt for a location. We're pretty amped that we will be meeting back in person. Our goal is March, but we are looking for a location. If you hung on to this far, you get some information here. We will not be going back to Cedar Island. We, at the moment, are looking for a new location. And the reason why not Cedar Island is just that we don't want to be unpredictable, meaning this weekend we can't meet because things shift and stuff. We want to be able to set the rhythms of us meeting, and so that's really why the school has been great to us. They've been super kind with us, but we just don't like that uncertainty, and that was one of the things that we did so well over the last year, is creating certainty in an uncertain time, that you knew where to find us over the last year, always here at 10 o'clock, which we are not leaving YouTube either. We will be here. We're going to do both of them at the same time, so it's going to be a lot of fun in us figuring that out. But if you have a lead on a building, let us know. 2, pray for us as we find one. And make sure you stay tuned to all of our social medias and emails, because you'll get information from us of the date, location, when it's happening. It's going to be sweet, okay? That said, I think that's all upcoming events. We got more in the...
small groups start in 2 weeks? 1 week?
Next week, after Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
We will have signups and things happening, which you won't want to miss. We're going to do one big gathering this time, the week after the Super Bowl. So we're going to get everybody into digital Zoom meetings. So hopefully we see 30, 40 people logged in. Yay. And then from there, we're going to have you disperse the following week into your own small groups, which will be a lot of fun. So next week, it is big group. Everybody on one digital Zoom. We're going to play a game. We're going to do a quick Bible study, and then that'll be it.
Love it.
Okay. A lot happening. We love you all. Thank you for being with us. Stay safe out there. Let's get some snow going. Chili. Kristen, I'm expecting a great chili.
Someone give me a good recipe.
Okay, text Kristen.
I got you.
Okay.
I can't do yours.
Lily, are you making a chili? She just, her eyebrows went up and she said yes. Can't wait. You know what could happen, because you guys all live together, you could collab.
Well, Kaylee probably
did
make
win.
her own chili.
Because she won. She's the winner.
Last year.
Lily and Kristen could team up.
Let's do it. Okay.
But can you do that?
Why couldn't you?
Why? You have Michaela?
We're one.
Yeah, they live together. They're roommates. Okay. Thank you everyone for hanging out. Can't wait to see your chili next week. Stay safe out there. This one is over.